The possibility of a partial government shutdown just ahead of Christmas as the president is demanding the government funding bill the House was to vote on today pay for his border wall. Get it in there. Speaker Paul Ryan stepped out of the White House a few minutes ago and said this.
We just had a very long, productive meeting with the president. The president informed us that he will not sign the bill that came over from the Senate last evening because of his legitimate concerns for border security. So what we're going to do is go back to the House and work with our members. We want to keep the government open, but we also want to see an agreement that protects the border. We have very serious concerns about securing our border.
All right, and this is breaking news now. Our panel, radio talk show host Ben Kissel, Kevin McCullough, radio talk show host with Salem Media. Gentlemen, stand by for the breaking news because it looks like they're going to try to move a spending bill in the House that has the $5 billion in it. Kevin, you are giving me the most inquisitive look right now.
Well, where'd that come from? All we've heard for the last several days is it can't be done, it won't be done. Schumer, like, swearing on his grave. The last thing he'll get is the money for the border wall. And within minutes of the president telling them to find it, they found it.
Okay. House to try to move that interim spending bill. It will have $5 billion for the border wall. It will have $8 billion for disaster aid. That may not clear the House. They would then bounce it back to the Senate. The Senate probably couldn't approve that bill, and around we go. But we have something that we might have seen a few weeks ago, Ben, but now we're seeing it today, close to Christmas.
Right. This reminds me of when I would study for exams the day before the exam was to take place.
How'd you do?
Average. I did fine. But it should have been done much earlier than this. So the fact that now we're in this massive scramble to get this spending bill done is really indicative of the lack of ability of Donald Trump to convince Republicans that funding for the border wall is important for him and his base.
All right, you mentioned the word base, and for the first time today, there were a couple of base issues. This is one of them. This is something that he ran on. The other being, the troop situation in Syria. We can talk about that later. But I want to talk about this now because this is breaking, and you have definite thoughts about this.
On the border wall?
Yeah, and the base and how important it is
the base
that he get this
confused
done.
right now because even with the announcement of the Syrian pullout, you've got really divided opinion. You've got a Republican base that loves the military, wants that to operate as soundly as possible in its doctrine and practice. And now you've got the president basically lining up with the Rand Paul wing of the party saying, don't be interventionist. When we've got 2,000 guys there, we're going to try to pull them out. It seems chaotic. It seems very disorganized. And I think that is, I think the base is waking up today going, we weren't expecting this.
Is the president in jeopardy of maybe not losing that base, but losing some people among it?
Well, I don't know if I'm not sure if he's going to lose anyone in the base, but I don't see him growing the base, specifically when he has extremely important foreign policy decisions coming out via Twitter. I think that does get under people's skin because, quite frankly, it doesn't seem the platform is not serious enough for what he's actually talking about.
All right. I don't want to get into Twitter. I want to stay on the point that this was something that was a core promise of his campaign. Everybody knew this. Why, when Republicans had bicameral majority and the same party president, could they not even put some money for the wall in the bill? I don't understand that.
No, Republicans tripped themselves up on that. And I think it frustrated Donald Trump as much as it frustrated anybody else. I mean, if he doesn't get the wall started, he does not get reelected. That's just the bottom line. He's got to build the wall.
Wait a minute. So you are saying he's in jeopardy of losing his base if he doesn't get this?
The campaign starts in 2 weeks. These guys are going home in a couple of days. The year's over.
Some of them have left the House Republicans.
You've got to get it done.
And, of course, he's going to need, again, more than his base if he wants to get reelected. Immigration is going to be on the forefront of everyone's mind when it comes to 2019 for the election in 2020. Beto O'Rourke, for example, is down at the border today. He said Dreamers are his number one issue. So immigration is going to be talked about. And if he fails on the conservative side regarding the wall, it will really hurt him.
All right, real quick, last thought.
We've got a lot of work to do, and time's running out.
Yeah,
Campaign
well, they're doing it right
starts
now.
In 2 weeks.
Yeah, they're doing it right now. Power panel stays. The 2020 Democrat field seems to be widening by the day, and you just heard Ben talking about this. It could mean trouble for some candidates. What a new report says about upstart Beto O'Rourke and former Vice President Joe Biden, and whether Biden should be worried.